We've all had that moment when you're walking or when you're driving and you look up and you see a majestic, beautiful bird like a hawk or an eagle flying overhead. But what if you could get up close and personal with these birds of prey? We stopped into New England Falconry and spoke with owner Chris Davis.
Well, falconry is an activity that's about 4,000 years old. We think it began in Mongolia, somewhere on the Asian continent. And we're assuming that people saw birds of prey catching the kind of things we like to eat, scared them off the kills, and robbed them of the kills. And you've seen this if you go to the beach and a gull grabs some food items, other gulls force it to give it up. The gulls may even steal your food. They then probably started with young birds from the nest, easier to get a hold of, figured out how to train and maintain them and to hunt on a regular basis. So there's a lot of old world history of falconry. We only have about a 100-year history here in the United States. One of the really common raptors around are the red-tailed hawks. And they're large, they're really visible in the winter when they're in the leaves on the trees. Typically for them you're going to have a white front, maybe with a dark belly band. And they're sitting around on trees or along the highway, and they're hunting. They're still hunting. They're sitting, they're watching, they're waiting for something to come out, and then they'll chase it. Just being around the birds is great, and you're always learning something new. Every bird teaches me something new, and it's great to share with people, to be able to fly a bird to someone who has an interest in birds of prey and to see how much they enjoy it. And then as an educator, people are always coming with questions that make me have to think and figure things out, so I'm always learning too.
Easy enough.
Easy enough.
Let's go fly some birds.
Sounds good.
Chris taught us how he trains falcons, and it turns out it's surprisingly like training your dog. What is it that makes the bird come back? Because on the whole, birds aren't, you know, at least in my, something that could come back.
Yeah. So there are two parts that are involved in the training process. One is called manning the bird, and this isn't man as opposed to woman. It's like manual. The bird is on the hand, carried around, seeing other people, dogs, automobiles. At first they might be very startled, but then as there's not a problem with what they've responded to, they're calming down, they're habituating, they're getting used to things, but you have to keep them into a routine. This isn't a pet-like relationship. If you break that routine, they can go wild very quickly. So you've got to calm them down, and then at the same time you begin by feeding them on the glove, and while they're feeding, you whistle. So there's a sound they hear, and the glove they see that they relate to food. Then indoors, you place a bird on a perch, hold the end of the leash in the right hand, show it the glove from a foot or so away with food, and whistle.
It's almost like a very complex version of teaching a dog to sit and lay down and roll over.
It's very much like that. So this is operant conditioning. So the manning is habituation, getting them used to things, and then operant conditioning. So there's a cue, the bird responds, and there's a reward at the end. It's that reward at the end that anchors in the cue. So that's how you can get a bird trained and then be comfortable enough to take it out and have it flying free, sometimes for up to hours, and then be able to get it back.
Now, what do novices need to know?
Let's see, that most people are right-handed, so the falconry glove is on the left hand.
Okay.
So you have your more dexterous hand available to manipulate the equipment, so on. So I'll go over with you how we'd hold a bird if we had a bird on the hand. So if we had a bird on the hand, we'd have the elbow right by the side, the thumb on top, but a flat thumb, nice place for the bird to perch, and the hand a little bit above the elbow. Birds prefer a higher perch, so if you keep your hand above your elbow, it'll keep the bird there. When the bird flies into you, your arm will be extended. After it's fed, you can relax your arm and bring him in for a closer look. Okay? So let's talk about how we'll get the bird back. Put your hand right down by your side. Imagine he's off your left shoulder. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand and extend your arm, that flat thumb on top. I'll put a little bit of beef there. The bird's going to fly over, land on the glove, eat the beef, maybe pick at the glove. All you've got to do is hold your arm still and have a place for him to land. Again, after he's fed, you can bring him in, flat thumb on top, hand above the elbow. He's going to be there for a brief time, and he'll leave the glove on his own. At that point, the gloved hand goes down by the side.
So if you've always wanted to get closer to birds of prey, consider trying falconry.